So we have this arm. And this arm represents something that all students really want to know. How do I move the arm? How do I bend the arm? How do I work on with bones and how to get started that way? So this arm can be found within the actual show notes. So if you look at the show notes in YouTube, I put the link to all the lesson files. If you're finding these videos somewhere else, usually along with the videos there is show notes. So just look for those show notes and they'll find a link to all lesson files within the actual series. Okay, so find this arm, that's your first objective, and then open it up. Then let's get started. What we're going to do is add an armature to this arm. And usually artists or these things, these educational things, focus on creating the skeleton for a complete person. Oftentimes I find that is very hindrance and very overwhelming for a student. So if they're just doing the most complex one, which is the arm, it's not too bad. But if they're doing the whole body and the arm, it's a lot better. It's a lot better. So we're going to look at just the arm in this series because there's a lot of concepts here. There's a lot of joints that can bend that are very weird, and there's things like vertex groups and how do they get assigned. And they apply throughout the whole skeleton, and I'd rather see students making mistakes early on in a modeling 1 course, and then in the animation course we actually sum it up to the point where, okay, now this takes effect. So this is still the experimental stage in modeling 1. Everything is still kind of open as far as big broad ideas, and there are margins for error. So in object mode, to get off my soapbox, we make an armature, single bone. And in wireframe, it's a little bit easier to kind of look at this. So what happens is it is just like this. Okay, what I want to do is rotate this to 90 degrees, 0, and 0. Just like that. So it's standing at attention. Also, what I would suggest to you is, since this arm is just an arm, put the location of this bone at 0, 0, 0. And then take the arm itself and just kind of make sure it's at 0, 0, 0. Okay, that's just a little tip. And if you need to move, like let's say the pivot point just a little bit over, you can. Say I need to move it over. Actually, that looks pretty good, but I would say this is more centered. There we go. That looks better. So I would center it around the bone at 0, 0, 0. Just because it's just one arm anyway. What we're going to do is go and edit this bone, hitting tab, and I'm going to move this piece here. So this is my root joint. It controls all other children past this, so we always call this the parent kind of bone or root bone, and it's going to have children following it. And how you make these so-called children are just the extrude feature. So you can grab the one bone, hit extrude, and then what I do is immediately right click and then use the move tool to move it. And I move it very gently over to where it bends. In this case, in the arm, it would be right here. This is the elbow joint. Okay. Now, I'll extrude that. Immediately right click, and then drag it over. Right here marks my, where's it right here? Let me see what that looks like here in solid form. In solid form, we need it to come to about right here. This marks your wrist. And you can see now, in object mode, we have to move the arm up a little bit. Okay, so if I hit 1 on the keyboard, you should see this go down the center of all. If not, adjust the arm so it's centered with the world, not only in X, but in Y also. So in this case here and here. So top, 7 on the keyboard and 1 on the keyboard on the number pad. Good. If this is centered, we can now go to Object and say Object, Apply Location. And that will sure up the arm to be perfectly on 0 from here on out. Alright, now we're going to look at this. We're going to make this hand. This is one of the most complex parts, but really very easy. So let's go to edit mode, grab this, hit extrude, right click, and then move it. I'll add a joint here. Go back to the root of that, extrude. Again, extrude. And I'm looking for this joint right here in the hand. So you can see that there's a fulcrum point here. Okay, again, there's one more. There's a thumb. I'll add to that. And really what I do is concentrate on the big overall flow of things. Like I'll do this one, then this joint. But then I won't do all the way to the finger. I'll wait. I'll do all the joints first that relate to that one. See, extrude. And lastly, okay, so there we go. We have a skeleton for the hand. Just make sure it's in the center of all. Looks like I'm missing one more part. This one right here. Okay, the next step. Name your bones. And this is a step that all students hate. So go to object mode. And notice I highlight all of them. In edit mode, I can highlight individual ones. Okay. In this case, we have to go to the bone menu. And this is going to be the arm bone. The next one, you can name it maybe bicep. You can also call it arm 2. This one, forearm. Whoops. And now this starts not wrist, but it actually goes off like this. Here, I would have index 1, index 2, index 3. Okay, then we go back. This would be mid 1, so for middle. Mid 2, mid 3. Now, don't forget, later on, if there's 2 arms, you would have to do something like this. You would have to do what? Maybe this is the left arm, so it would be left underscore index 1. So think about that for later on, because when you develop your own character in the very end, as far as the final project goes, yeah, you're going to have to worry about left index 2, left index 3. For right now, I'm just going to maybe name this bone with the left index. Ah, heck. It might as well just... And what I do is copy this. Here's a shortcut. Copy that. Go to the next one. Paste it. Change the number. Paste it. Change the number. So there's a very fast way to do it. This is left underscore ring 1. Again, copy that. Go to the next bone, paste it, 2, paste it, 3. I can even do this. Then copy it. There we go. And lastly, thumb 2. There we go. And I can also put that denotation of L underscore here. And just to get you in the habit, because really this is the most missed part. All students hate labeling things. They just want a model. Then later on it gets really frustrating and they don't learn anything else because they keep hitting the brick wall of, wow, this isn't working, I wonder why. And you have no way to test it. You have no way of knowing what's attached to what. It's horrible. Just letting you know. Okay, so there we go. This is our arm. Now in the next video, we're going to assign it to skin.